Okay, all joking aside, here we are in a very lovely sunny UK in the middle of lockdown because of the pandemic. So we're looking for new things to do. Since my son's favourite character is Yoshi, we're going to make a Yoshi pixel art quilt. Let's go inside. Okay, so the first thing to do when you decide you want to do a pixel art quilt is search for your chosen subject. We chose Yoshi because my son likes Yoshi, and I literally went to a search engine, typed in Yoshi 8-bit and got a load of images. Now the one I actually like is this one. It's not an 8-bit image, it's actually a 16-bit image, but aside from that, it's small, it's reasonably clear, it's only got a limited number of colours, and it's already got the squares marked for me. So I've saved that image on my computer, and that's what I'm going to be working from. The next thing to do is to print it out. So I printed it out on my printer. At the bottom I've worked out exactly what colours I need and how many of each square, and I've also counted the number of pixels across and the number of pixels down. Now how big you cut your squares will depend on how big you want your final quilt to be. It's an obvious kind of thing. This image is 25 pixels across by 30 pixels down. If I use a 2.5 inch square, then it will give me a pattern that is 50 by 30 pixels, because for each square you lose ½ an inch in the seam allowance. So if I start off with a 2.5 inch square, it will give me a 2 inch finished size. So I just double the number of pixels. If your image was smaller, you might want to do a bigger size square. If your image was larger, you might want to do a smaller size one. But it's your quilt, it's entirely up to you how big you want to go. Right, so having done that, it's on to ironing the fabric and cutting it all out. Okay, so now I've worked out how many of each square I need, and I've worked out how big the squares I want are. There's nothing left for me to do but to bring in the fabrics that I bought and start cutting. See you later. So hung over the curtain pole is the finished quilt. As you can see, it's just the quilt top, it's not finished yet, but in order to finish it I need to get out in the garden with a folding table or two put together so I can actually get all the way around and pin based and that kind of thing. And at the moment the weather is not cooperating, so rather than waiting until we've done all of that, I'm doing this now, and I will do an update. As you can see on the edge, what I've done is I've put a white border all the way around. That was a 1.5 inch strip to give a 1 inch finished border. Then I put a black strip all the way around. Again, that was same size, that was 1.5 inches, so the finished size is 1 inch. And then we've used the same green that we used for the lightest colour as our extra border. Now that was 4.5 inches, so that will finish as a 4 inch border. When you're close up to it, you really can't see it. You need to be really far back as possible to be able to get the whole thing in. Let me just try and there we go. You can see there's his feet, there's my cat who's not joining in, and there's the top, so that you can actually see the borders on there. But yeah, all in all, very good. What's going to happen is when I quilt it, will be quilt in the ditch, so that we get each pixel outlined specially. And using the accuquilt really made a difference. I got the whole thing cut out in about 1.5 hours, even though there's thousands of pieces in there. Yeah, really enjoyable project. Keep your eye out for the update when it's finished.